I think. Okay. There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of WIGTT. I think we're on episode 4 now, and I think this is the first time we managed to do 2 congruent weeks in a row, so congratulations.
Yeah, ever since we started.
Yeah, this is the first time we've done 2 weeks in a row. This is amazing. And, of course, I am Chris, and with me is Nate Pick.
Yeah, the ugly one's over here, by the way.
Oh, God. Anyways, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with my spiel real quick. Of course, thank you for tuning in, but as usual, we're not really paying too much attention to the chat. I do have my fancy looping every 15 minutes pop-up window thing to blare and yell at people and give them a wall of text, so just kind of be wary of that while we slowly make our way through tonight. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, and also, we only have, this is probably maybe going to last 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a late start, and we're on a little bit of a timetable, so. Oh, well.
Yeah, I was supposed to get with Ribbit about the ARC server.
Oh.
And I still haven't done that.
Let me take up all your time.
It's been a week.
Yeah, it's been wild. I ended up getting home later, and you were fiddling with your mic, but everything should be good audio-wise. You fixed your mic, which is good.
Yeah, and I did bring back the old stand because my other one fell apart. When I say fell apart, I literally just placed it, and I was like, this is perfect. This is where I want it. And all of a sudden, I heard a crack, and it just hit the floor.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, are you serious right now?
Oh, no.
So I got to look for another mic stand.
What happened? Did it just break? I mean, mic stands don't just break.
Yeah, well, funny enough.
Usually they
So
don't.
I was messing with it earlier. And I was kind of rough on it. I would say it's probably my fault, the reason why it broke. But I was a little rough on it, and it got stuck once part. So I finally forced it loose, and I thought, no big deal. You know, we're all good and we're all set. Yeah. And as soon as I said that, the very top that holds the actual arm to the bottom base, that part apparently had cracked in both places.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So when I moved it, it just snapped off, and it just...
Yeah, I had that happen to a mic stand. I've had the mount that goes on the desk break in half. I made a new one. I had a new one made out of aluminum. It's just this thick block now. It's not the whatever cheap thing the original mic stand uses, and I had another one where it just the thing that holds it to the mount that holds it to the desk broke, and I think that's the same problem you had. So it's mic stands are a bit of a pain. They can be a bit of a pain sometimes.
It is. With that being said, I would like to get. Eventually, I want to get one of those ones that have the big anchor base that you just set on top of the desk.
Yeah. Those ones are good.
I love those things. I was
actually looking at those.
Other than that, I think
that
should be good.
Yeah, you sound good. I was in the local discount store today, looking around. They had a bunch of equipment there. They actually had a backdrop set up, which was a whole thing. It came with green screen and a bunch of different photography backdrops. They wanted $20 for it, and I'm still considering going back. I may go back tomorrow and get it, just so I could set up a big thing back here, or use it for photography too. But it was only $20, so.
Well, my main problem is I have this corner, so if I ever do a green screen, I'm gonna have to figure out how to angle it just right. And before I do that, to be honest, I'm getting a new webcam. I hate this stupid thing.
Yeah.
It's so crappy.
Eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a setup with the green screen and my actual DSLR, because I've got that hooked up and configured to where I can use it through OBS. But the problem with that is it's just there's no comfortable place to put it right here. I'd like to do, like over there's more room in that direction. This behind me is just a bed, but there's more room over here. And I had it set up for something I was doing. I was doing a photography project, and I had a whole setup over there, just pretty much how I wanted to set up a podcast. It was almost a dry run for that too, and it fit perfectly. So I think I'm going to try and set up something like that. I've just got to get the lighting right. I'm going to try and get a hold of some better lights, and if I can do that, hopefully everything will go a lot better.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's another thing I was going to say. I need a lighting situation. I think I need 2 soft boxes, because if you notice, compared to your webcam and my webcam, the light that I have is that warm amber light.
Yeah.
And I hate it, by the way. I hate it. I absolutely hate these stupid things. But it was cheap and it was on sale, so I got them. But I need what I need to do is get a actual lighting kit, and I seen
Yeah.
one pretty cheap. It's like $40
Yeah, if you
for
look
two.
on if you look on Amazon, there's one by Neewer, Neewer, and that's the one I'm looking at. They're pretty good. My lighting used to be a little bit better. I used to have a fish tank that's set up here, but the fish died not too long ago. So that's part of my lighting setup is gone now. But what I want to do, I'm going to take and get the softbox light. If I stay here at the desk, I'm going to take and get a softbox light and put it up there in this area. Hands are very hard to see, probably up there. Either that or when I get that, I'm just going to go ahead and put up my podcast setup. I do want to go ahead and mention some things in the chat. Rivet and Umbrian are here. Thanks for taking a break and saying hi, Rivet, and welcome. Umbrian asks what WIGTT stands for. It's World Impact Gaming Tech Talk. Just a quick break into the chat. But yeah, that's lighting setups are fun, and my lighting setup right now is kind of annoying because the back is more well lit than the front. I've got a lamp over here. I could probably turn that on and see how that does. Yeah, there. That's more like what it used to be. That's a little bit better.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Very nice and lit now. Look at that. As the kids say today,
I
lit.
still have I have the shadows. I don't have an extra lamp that I have to spare.
Yeah.
Funny enough, lamps are one of the most...
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, lamps are the most expensive things here.
Oh, Lord.
To be honest.
Why?
I don't know.
They're just expensive, or that's not a lead into anything? It's just expensive lamps.
It's just the lamps are expensive
really?
Here. I don't know. Like, I'll give you an example. You know those little cheap desk lamps that clamp on?
Yeah.
And it's just a little single light bulb?
Yeah.
I thought about getting 2 of those because I was like, well, I could put some paper in front of them, but you can soften it.
Yeah.
I thought about that. I went to a discount store. It was $25 each.
Good Lord. This is like a $5 John Deere lamp I bought at Goodwill like 5 years ago.
Exactly.
I mean, it's where I get all my lights, and this one's good. I've got an LED bulb in there, and LED bulbs are really good for lighting stuff because it's got the right. It's just pure white light, and it's really good for this kind of thing. So I like that, and that's what I've got in my fan light here too. So everything's really nice and crisply lit. But yeah, I'm gonna have to start turning that lamp on. But I'd like to get a nice little softbox light or something to put up here, so that's a little bit better than just a lamp, because that thing also gets really hot, and I forget to turn it off. It's gonna set everything on fire.
Yeah.
That's what I'm more worried about.
So, did you get any sponsors this week? Because I didn't do squat.
Not that I'm aware of. I've moved on from drinking Arizona's on here to Gatorade now, if that counts for anything. I'm gonna appeal to as many companies as I can. And we got John Deere now with a lamp, so we're moving forward.
There you go. Holland chocolate milk. 16 grams protein. And I downed this before I started.
Got a little bit of strawberry kiwi Gatorade. I was drinking that with my dinner while I waited for you to finish fixing your mic, and I got another thing of citrus crash for when I eventually run out of this, so my throat doesn't die. So I've gotten bad. I'll be in the setup processor beforehand. I'll get a drink and I'll drink halfway through, or drink halfway through it in the setup. And I get about halfway through the podcast, and it's just like, I can't talk.
Yeah. I know the feeling.
Yeah, so I try and keep multiple drinks on hand, so. All right, I guess we can go ahead and
start the first one.
Yeah, we can go ahead and start talking about the things that we have here today. I guess we're moving on to tech news. First thing that we have here is that Intel has announced the i9 7900X Skylake X processor, the first of the i9 line as far as I'm aware, and I haven't actually heard of that until this very moment.
This one's interesting. I know why they done it. I can understand why they done it, because Ryzen is technically kicking them in the rear right now. I have a problem with this though, and you probably noticed it too. Have you seen the TDP?
No, I haven't seen anything. But like I said, let me look at this. I'm gonna pull up this article because, like I said, I haven't seen anything about this until just now, and I just realized I never started playing the video on the background. It's just been paused for 7 or 8 minutes. Anyway, yeah.
Add an H to the front of that, by the way. It's supposed to say hexus.net.
Let's see here. i9, people looking at the i9s. What do we have here? TDP 140 watts. Really?
Yeah, that's the base start is 140 watts.
Really?
Are we back in 2012?
That's interesting,
I mean,
especially because one of the things that Intel, they must have rushed this, because one of the things that Intel certainly touts is that they have a very low power draw. I mean, I think the 6600K is the one. Let me see. What's TDP? 6600K is 91 watts. That's the processor I have. That is almost, that's 50 more watts. Jeez, that's yeah. And I mean, for those who don't know, total power draw is basically how much your system is going to draw from your power supply. It basically tells you how big of a power supply you're going to need. And it's better right now in this day and age and the way we're moving for the power draw to be moving down instead of up.
Well, one thing I think a lot of people need to take into text here. Let me look up. What was it? The FX, and was it 95, 90? I believe was the big one.
I think I want to say the new one, or no?
Yeah, there we go. The FX 9590. That was the old Vishira core for AMD. That was 222 watts or 220 watts. Okay, if you look at just the was it 8350? Just that one.
8350.
That one was how much wattage? I don't see it right now.
Here. Just look TDP.
Oh, yeah, my internet's taking its time. Okay, that was 125 watts.
95 for the 8350. The total power draw is 95 watts. And that is on one of the processors that people kept saying it's drawing too much power, it's drawing too much power. And for an Intel, an i9 latest generation, absolute latest generation Intel processor to be drawing 140 watts, that is certainly saying something.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that I think this is kind of, here's the deal. Okay, it says 4.0 to 4.5 is what it says.
Mm-hmm.
But you're at 140 watts. And if you actually look at the graph, it was at 4.01 gigahertz.
Yeah.
And it was drawing 175 watts.
Yeah,
this is ridiculous.
And one thing, looking at this is certainly something that was rushed, and this is absolutely certainly something that is in immediate response to Ryzen. I think this is Intel showing that they did not at all expect Ryzen to do this well, and now they're rushing to get something out there. They should have waited on this. They should have waited on this, because this is absolutely, especially because this is the kind of processor, this is more likely going to be used along the lines of workstations and server-side machines. This is something that people look at power draw, and if it's drawing this much power, this thing has got to run hot. So that's also something you do not want to have in a server situation. Is the cooler the better is generally what you're looking at, and this is sad for Intel. It really is.
Think about it in this way, in this sense. This is something that I'm wondering. If you remember, AMD either released a great cooler to go with their high-end CPUs, or they said, listen, this CPU, you need to get a water cooler. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or on the GPU side, they actually sent a card with the built-in water cooler automatically.
Yeah. That was that was the Fury.
Is Intel going to do this?
One? No.
Oh yeah, the Fury X.
Yeah, the Fury X had the water cooler, which I actually thought was really neat. But yeah, I agree. Intel's going to certainly have to do something about this, unless they just decide to ship it without cooling altogether. I know they've done that. I know a lot of the i5s are that way at least. But yeah, this is something that's not great. This is certainly showing Intel's position right now. They're kind of desperate to get out there and get out there and make new processors and try and recapture part of the market. But this is them kind of shooting themselves in the foot in the process.
Yeah, it is. Think about this for a second, okay? This base on the Core i9 7800X, okay, the Skylake X CPU, is 12 cores and 12 threads.
Mm-hmm.
Its base clock is 3.5 gigahertz. Its boost clock is 4 gigahertz. That still has a 140 watt TDP.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that if you can go get Ryzen that's, was it 1700? or no, not the 1700. Is the 1600 that's like 65 watt? Really?
Yeah, it's yeah, and like I said, this is a desperate reach, and Unreal just said, Intel's sort of gone downhill since this recent iteration and the whole Ryzen release and all that. And it's true, and I think part of the reason is, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, it's that we now actually have something to compare Intel to. We're not comparing Intel's current iteration with Intel's last iteration anymore. We're comparing Intel to Ryzen now. And this is something that we haven't been able to do this for 15 years. We haven't been able to do this for 20 years. Yeah. This is the first time we've been able to do this, and people are finally stepping back and realizing Intel is going downhill. And I think now this means that Intel is certainly going to have to take pause and think, okay, what are we going to do? And I hope I hope that they're able to come back just for the sake of not to capture the market entirely again, but just to keep the competition going. So
they're going to have to.
Yeah, and this is a great position for AMD to be in right now, because I think they're going to be able to realize that they've got them scared. This is absolutely them certainly being scared.
Well, one thing I will commend AMD on, whenever they finally said, "Hey, we got a new CPU that's going to be great for productivity and gamers," they came out swinging as hard as they could. And yeah, I mean, they could have done a little bit better on their marketing, and the release was kind of botchy. But looking at it now, I mean, we're what, 2 months from the release date?
Yeah, we're about a month and a half, 2 months away, and we're currently looking at just an absolutely great processor. Like I've said before, it's not to what it could be, and it's not to what it will be in a year or two. But right now, for what they came out with and what they were able to hit they really hit the ground running with this one. I have no doubt about that, and I think that they're going to be able to move forward with this and do very well, especially because I think it's going to take Intel a little while to recover from this. I don't see them coming back for probably another year.
The way I see it, if they could keep Ryzen for 4 more years, just keep refreshing it. If they can finally get it to close to 4.5 to almost some of them even 5 gigahertz on Ryzen, I mean, I think
they're already there. I mean, they're already getting there now. I think
they're getting there.
I think really within the next 5 years, we're going to see the standard go from about 3.5 gigahertz to at least 4. I think that's what we're going to see. Every couple of years, it ticks up another half gigahertz. And it's this last couple of years, it's been 3.5 has been standard ship, and it's starting to get to the point where everybody they get their 3.5s and immediately clock them up to 4. And I think that we're going to see everybody there. It's going to start being the standard release, and it's going to move to 4.5. And I think at the end of 10 years, probably the next 10 years, we'll be sitting at 5 gigahertz as standard, which is great. And it's a great way to sit back and look at Moore's law in effect, how all that's coming together. And AMD is certainly working on pushing that forward right now.
Oh yeah, it's an exciting time. But with that being said, I did wanted to bring an Intel product because we talked about AMD so much, but at the same time, this thing is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's hard to look at this and say that this isn't a retaliation against Ryzen or their attempt at retaliating. This was something they sloppily threw together. It was not finished. It is not where it should be. It is certainly not up to Intel's standard. This is something that I hope it drives a lot of people over to AMD and Ryzen, honestly.
Oh yeah. So do you move into the next one?
All right, yeah, I tweeted about this not too long ago. Microsoft has rebranded Beam. I don't remember what they rebranded it to exactly. Let me pull it out. Mixer, that's what it was. I read a brief article about it. But yeah, they are rebranding Beam. Have they already done that, or have they said that's something they're going to do soon? I don't.
No, it's already rebranded now.
Oh, so I guess I can walk.
It was done today, actually.
Oh, okay. So I guess I am streaming on Mixer now, maybe. Yeah, I am. Neat. Okay, did not realize that. I have not had time today to do anything and fiddle around with it. Oh, that's nice. I just pulled up the website. So yeah, they've rebranded. This is part of, for those who don't know, Microsoft bought Beam a little while ago, and it's kind of become Microsoft's big streaming service. They've actually done pretty good with it. Beam, now Mixer, has always had a pretty good little audience going. I've got a few people come through there. I know Rivet's a lot. He's probably a little bit more qualified to talk on this than I have, because he's been on there since, I think he's been on there basically since day one. And he's used it across. I know he's done some Xbox One streaming, and I know he's played around with some other stuff on there. And from what I've heard, it's a pretty good little platform, and I've used it a little bit, and it's a pretty decent little platform. And Microsoft's been stumbling a lot lately, but I think that Mixer's pretty good.
Oh yeah. Well, one thing that I would actually find helpful is if they ever took Mixer and actually, because I mean, let's think about it. Yeah, Google owns YouTube's servers as far as the where all the servers are, but Microsoft probably owns almost the same amount of servers.
Yeah. If
So
Microsoft
if they ever made it
decided
to where
launch, really go all in with Mixer, which I think it looks like they're going to do, they do very well, especially because they've done a good job so far of not managing to alienate everyone. I'm certain they'll find a way because it's Microsoft, but they've done very well with it so far.
Well, and one thing I was gonna say, if they ever made it to where you could just upload videos and actually have a channel on there, I see a lot of people from YouTube leaving.
Yeah.
And be like, you know what? I'm done with this. Because, I mean, let's be honest. YouTube has been an absolute nightmare since January, to be honest. With everything going on.
I want to step back for a minute and on this whole argument of everyone needs to leave YouTube. And I agree, YouTube's been going downhill. One of the big problems I keep seeing over and over and over again is all these people, these new sites pop up. People say, we need to move over to Twitch. We need to move over to Beam. The problem is a lot of YouTube, and a bulk of YouTube, I would go as far as to say, is not gaming. And a lot of these big places are gaming, heavily gaming related. And we need something. We need, literally, when I say we need a new YouTube, we need a new YouTube. Not just a YouTube gaming, not just, Twitch or something like that. We need something that everybody can get with. Because that is when Google will get the message. That is, I absolutely believe that. And I was talking to somebody about that the other day. That's the only time Google and YouTube both are going to be able to get the message.
Well, just for example, I'll give you an example with me. I do have, technically this is also a gaming channel, but this is also my tech channel. Yeah. Obviously, we're doing widget. So this, to me, is something that I think, like I said, if Mixer, or used to be Beam, if Mixer would allow people to upload and go into just actually have a channel per se, and it would give YouTube a run for the money, because I think a lot of people are just fed up with all the crap, to be honest.
It's an interesting thing, because this is something I knew was going to come from day one. I mean, this is why people should never throw all their chips on one card. There's a lot of people that went all in on YouTube, and now there's nothing else they can do, and that's why everybody's panicking right now. That's why I've always said, if you're going to do this, diversify, whether that's using different platforms or using different ways of income. But that being said, like I said, we need something for everybody to get on board with, somewhere where everybody will be able to get on board with, because there is a wide variety of people out there using YouTube, and this is affecting everyone. I mean, this affects everyone. So it's it's kind of crazy right now. And
well,
it still
one
stands
other thing. One other thing I would say, if I was to ever find another place that was just as good as YouTube, and I knew I could grow an audience and upload my videos, because I don't have the streaming capabilities right now. So for someone like me, YouTube is about the only thing I really can do for now. So what I have to do is, I have to step back and look at it in this sense. Yeah, technically I don't make money from YouTube. I mean, I do, but it's it's pennies, YouTube pennies. But at the same time, for me, if I build an audience in YouTube, and if I were to eventually, get big enough, and then something else came along, all I have to do is release the video on YouTube. Like, hey, I'm now going to post videos to this site. What are they going to do? They might take down my channel, but oh well. I've already told everybody. So.
There's not much. I mean, that's the one thing I do appreciate about YouTube, is they don't have exclusivity clauses. I know Twitch has an exclusivity clause. I think Beam does too. If you're going to partner with them, there is an exclusivity clause. And there's many stupid things as YouTube has done over the last few years. Not throwing one of those in, and God, I hope they don't do this. Not throwing one of those into the partnership contracts or their sign-up contracts is a wonderful thing. And it's great that you still have the option to be able to do that kind of thing. But I don't know when... I don't know when this new platform is going to come along, and I've been saying it for years, or at least months, the last few months. Somebody needs to come along and do like what Discord did to Skype, and just make a community-driven upload site. Instead, you know,
Oh
just
yeah.
that's what needs to happen. And a lot of people say, well, it can't happen. It can't happen. If Twitch or if Discord is able to do it to Skype, I very much believe that something can do it to YouTube. It just needs to come
I'm
along and
sorry.
be done right.
I'm sorry for all those that says, "Oh, it can't it can't happen. It can't happen." What happened to MySpace and Facebook?
Yeah, it's gonna happen eventually. I'd like it to happen sooner rather than later. And it's hard. It's hard. And I think there's a couple companies out there that have tried to do that, but every time one of these companies comes along and starts trying to do it, they end up getting bought out. Because there's a while where Twitch started to do that kind of thing, then they got bought out by Amazon. There's a while where Beam started to become the big thing, and then got bought out by Microsoft. We need to find a company or a platform that's not going to end up getting bought out by some big company.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I think there's one place that you can upload. I think it's called Daily Motion.
Yeah, but Daily Motion is it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, it is.
Because
it's got a lot of weird things to it.
Well, it's one of those things where it's been around for a while, and it's always been like a very, very backstreet YouTube replacement. But it's one of those things I don't ever see it taking off for some reason, because there are people that do on there that do things like they do on YouTube. You know, there's people on there who do gaming. There's people on there who do technology, but there's also just weird stuff on there. It's kind of like what 4chan is to Reddit. I mean, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those. I don't know. Well, here's the deal. I wonder if Zuckerberg would actually do something like that on Facebook. The only problem is I don't like using Facebook because it's kind of my personal area.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was going to say. I don't tend to do a lot of this stuff in personal places like that. You know, I don't like having my full name associated with any of this. You know, I value what little anonymity there is left on the internet. And I feel like doing stuff through Facebook like that would just take away from it. Because Facebook's been kind of pushing that a lot lately with the Facebook Live and all that. Because I know you can stream games to Facebook through that. There's a way you can set it up through Twitch. Or not through Twitch, but through OBS, to where you can stream games to it. But it's just like, I don't want to, because that's just too weird. That's just too weird at that point.
Well, I mean, for example, I'm pretty sure you probably have this too. You'll have those family members that are like, "So you're doing this? Why are you doing this?" I really don't want to have that conversation and be like, you know what, just forget it.
I don't want to explain to my grandmother who all these weird people are, who keep making strange innuendos while I play a block game. That's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do at my next family reunion.
No. It'd be like, I'm subscribed to your channel. Why do you play so many games? I get paid for it. That's what you don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I don't know.
So I'll take the next one. Moving on to the next one and the final topic that we have so far. Microsoft released a new Surface Pro tablet.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
It features the Kaby Lake processor, and it is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Really?
And I'll explain to you why. So Microsoft rant, here we come.
There's always the one, let me explain to you why rant, and I value these so much.
Oh yeah.
They're entertaining. All right. Let's hear it.
Here's the problem I have with Microsoft right now. Is the fact that they are trying to be Apple, and they are not. They need to quit. This thing costs so much money that it's ridiculous. And it's not even going to feature a full Windows. It's still going to feature the Windows S, which means then you have to turn around and buy.
I just looked at the pricing on this. I have not actually seen the pricing. I heard it was announced, but I have not yet seen the pricing until now. Let me go ahead. Let me read through the list for the pricing right now based on the CPUs. The M3, the Core M3, I don't even know what that is. It's below an i5. It's $800. That comes with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. The i5 with 4 and 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 and 256 gigabytes of RAM cost $1,000 and $1,300 respectively. And there are 3 i7s, with one with 8 gigabytes and 2 with 16 gigabytes. One has a 250 gigabyte hard drive, one has a 500 gigabyte hard drive, one has a terabyte hard drive. They cost $1,600. They cost $2,200 and $2,700 respectively. That is absolutely unacceptable. I like the Surfaces. I think the Surfaces are pretty cool. I've used them before. I think they're a neat concept, and I think they've been very. I mean, I think they've always been a little bit pricey. Most of them average about $700 to $1,000, but they're not bad computers. They work very well, and I think they're pretty neat. But this is just wrong. This is absolutely wrong. This is overpriced in every single sense of the word.
So get this. The Core M3 is actually slower than an i3. It's actually slower than a lot of your Atoms, your Intel Atom processors. Yeah, it's terrible. It's a terrible CPU. I don't even know why they use it.
I've never heard of the M3.
This is my biggest gripe that I have right now.
Right.
Now, bear in mind, this $2,700.
That's a lot of money.
1 terabyte is actually an SSD. It's actually M.2 SSD. Okay, super fast storage. That's okay. Why in the world would you buy a freaking Surface Pro when you can get a gaming laptop for the exact same size with better specs and would munch this sucker?
Yeah, I mean like I said, I like what Microsoft has done with the Surface tablets. I think they're pretty neat. But for $2,700, that is just a joke. It really is. Yeah. There is.
Oh, and there's more.
Oh, go on.
There's
please.
more to the story.
We can go deeper.
The Surface Pen. It does not come with it anymore. You have to buy it separately. I believe it's like $99.
God, why are these pens? Why are these pens so expensive? The Apple Pen's like $80. Why? What is so special about these pens that they have to cost this much money? They're just styluses. That's all they are. They're fancy styluses.
Oh no, it gets worse. It gets worse again. Even more worse this time. The new Surface does not even come with the keyboard anymore. It is separate. And they're going to range from $30 to $50. I'm not even making it up.
That's...
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Like, that's... Just get a laptop. If you want touchscreen, get a flipbook. That is what I will tell you right now. Because there is absolutely no reason for all of this, for the keyboard, for the pen, for the Surface itself to cost this much money. Because if you look at what goes into it, you could build this for less. That's atrocious. It's just like Umbron said in chat, and I agree with him. Just get a Chromebook. If you're looking to get a portable laptop, just go get you a Chromebook. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people use the Surfaces because they've got access to to everything. You know, they're full computers, and I respect that. You know, and I like Chromebooks. You know, I wouldn't say, you know, someone's looking to buy one of the upper end Surfaces, I wouldn't say go buy a Chromebook, because, you know, the difference is night and day. They're two totally different platforms with two totally different purposes. I like Chromebooks. I think they're neat. I've had one before. But like I said, I would tell somebody to go get a flipbook or a gaming laptop, like you said. You know, if you're going to pay that much money, if you're willing to dump that much money into it, and you're not like a billionaire who has money to blow, just go get a flipbook. Go get a laptop. Don't buy a Surface, because that is depressing how much money that is.
Yeah. No, I will say this, and I'd say this because being the junk tech hoarder that I am, be looking for the Surface 3s and the Surface 4s. Yeah, because those will actually start coming down in price.
Yeah, I'm actually looking into getting one right now, because one of the older ones, because they're going down, because those are fantastic little tablets. I've used them a handful of times in a couple different places, and they're great little tablets. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. They're just useful little, they've got some pretty good kick to them too. I mean, they're basically full computers. So yeah, I would definitely recommend picking one up. But yeah, look for one of the older generations, or if you want one of these ones, God, just wait a couple of years. They'll go down in price. Because I think right now you can get the 3rd and 4th generations for probably $400 or $500.
Yeah, it will $500 to $600.
Yeah,
depends on who you're buying it
Yeah,
from.
just look
But
for refurbished stuff like that.
it just whenever I was seeing this and I was reading through it, and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I
Yeah,
mean, everything. I mean,
yeah.
not only do you have to buy the tablet, okay, which fair enough. Okay, if it's one of the latest, greatest things ever, fair enough. But they're going into that stupid Apple lockdown bullcrap that nobody wants.
Are these all
They're an
running the
OS company.
Windows 10, that lockdown version of Windows 10? Whatever that
Yes,
is,
the
the
Windows
RT?
10s.
Oh, 10s. Yeah, RT
No,
was
the
the old
Windows.
one.
Yeah. So on top of you paid $2,700, then you got to go spend $99 for the
Yeah,
stupid pen. Then you go spend $50 for the
that's
keyboard. Now you got to turn around and spend an extra $50 just
th-
to get the freaking full unlocked Windows.
yeah,
It's just
that's
stupid.
just ridiculous, and that's why it's stupid. It really is. And Windows as an operating system is, I've never had a problem with Windows up until or Windows and Microsoft up until like the last 3 or 4 years. Because I've never had a problem with them. They've made great operating systems. They've made great programs. When the Surface first came out, it was a great idea. It was a nice little competitor to the iPad. There's all this stuff, and now it's just they're absolutely shooting themselves in the foot with all this.
So get this. I'm going to show you something.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see it.
I can't. I hear it.
Let me pull it up here. Yeah. Here you go. This right here is one of the original Surface RTs.
Ooh.
Fancy. It's just a simple little Surface.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't run full Windows 8. It's the ARM version.
Yeah.
Okay. This right here is one of the greatest things I have ever bought.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to just having something just to lay down, type some notes or whatever, perfect. I love this thing. It's small form factor, easy to fit in hands. You can carry it anywhere. They have lost their vision for this.
Yeah, the
completely.
original point of the Surface, it was a simple competitor to the iPad. It was big enough for everything you needed to get done. It had the full functionality of Windows, had the full functionality of a full PC. That was the idea of the Surface. That was a fantastic idea, and I've wanted one for a while, and I've played around with them outside, and I've really enjoyed them, and I've really wanted to get a hold of one. This is them absolutely shooting themselves in the foot with this. The Surface is a fantastic idea. It is a fantastic device. And to see them do something like this is absolutely horrible. And they keep locking it down with all of these, like the Windows 10s, the Windows 8 RT or whatever that was. It's stupid. It really is.
Oh, yeah. I am going to do something real quick because I think my internet's been overloaded. I am going to shut this down. Yep, I was right. Okay. All right, we're back.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, my internet was being overloaded for some reason. But, yeah, I figured this would be a good rant to do today because it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Always got to have one rant. Always got to be one.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't blame you at all. It's a good thing to rant on because, like I said, the Surface has gone from an absolutely fantastic device, a perfect device, to just garbage. I mean, I imagine they're still decent, but for the price, no, not at all. That is absolutely stupid. That is absolutely unnecessary.
Yeah, but you know what? What I'm going to say is be looking out for the Surface 2s, the Surface 3, and the Surface 4. Yeah. All the Pro models because they should be coming down in price pretty soon.
I know the old 2s and 3s are already down, but I think the 4s will be going down soon as well. So, yeah, just keep an eye out.
I'm going to tell you something. If you can get one of those, was it Surface Pro 3s the Surface Pro 4 that has the i5 in it? It's like the Skylake i5s.
Yeah, I think that's
perfect if you want a portable. Yeah, if you want a portable editing rig, it's perfect.
Oh yeah, they're very good little computers. I mean, like I said, they're full functionality for all intents and purposes. They're a full functioning PC. That's why I always enjoyed the concept. I mean, it's perfect for people like us, media people, who need access to that kind of thing on the go. It's great, especially for people who travel a lot and are in media. I know a lot of YouTubers who have the Surface for editing on the go, for editing vlogs, and it's fantastic. I'd love to have one if I was traveling a lot like that, or even for just my day-to-day stuff. I think it would be great to have. But yeah, like I said, just $2,700 for one of these is just not. That's not doing it.
I would never pay that much for one.
No.
Ever.
I mean, I'm already hard pressed to pay $1,000 for one, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. If he was going to do that, okay, and you're sitting there and you're in a Microsoft store, and you see this Surface Pro tablet for $2,700, you look over and they now have the Microsoft laptop that's $1,000 for the exact same processor, for the exact same stuff. It's also touchscreen. I mean, which one are you really going to walk out with?
I'd really end up with a laptop. I mean, like I said, the laptops, I don't have a problem with it. It's a mobile form factor. If I'm looking for something like that, I'm looking for something with a mobile form factor. I like the Surface because it's just a tablet. If I need something that's just a tablet, it's got the convenience of that clicky little keyboard, which I think is really neat. It's got that little bit of convenience. But this, it just, not for that price. At that point, it's just, I'll just go with a laptop. I can get the exact same thing in a laptop. You're buying, you're just buying the name at that point.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I do have some personal tech news actually to go into our
please do tell.
Topic here. Oh yeah, I have found on the website on Amazon. You know my Amazon deals always go through.
Amazon is wonderful.
I found this little mouse. It's a wireless mouse. It's by TechNet, and it takes a AA battery and
that kind of looks like
a little
mouse
dongle.
I use that's wired. If I can get it up here.
Yeah.
I can't get it up here. It's zip tied to the back. I can't lift it up high enough. It's got that same split down the middle like that. Yeah, that's who's it by?
TechNet, and it's TECKNET.
This one is, I think, E-Blue or E3 Blue. I don't know. It's a nice little mouse. It looks just like that one though, except it's blue. But
the main reason why I bought it.
What'd you bought it for?
You see that button right there?
Oh yeah, it's got those little side buttons.
Well, it's got the sniper button. So if you're playing a game, like if I'm playing a game on my laptop, I do it and it slows down your DPI. And so it gives you really accurate, and then you release it, and then you can shoot or whatever.
Yeah, I've gotten used to at this point having macro buttons on my mice. I've got with this mouse, I've got a little thing in the middle I can control my DPI on it with. I think there's 3 settings, which is really helpful. But it's got 2 buttons on the side of it. It's used for when you're in the web browser or whatever. You can hit it backwards and forwards to go between web pages, which I've gotten 17 kinds of used to. And every time I go to a regular mouse, it irritates me because I'm sitting there squeezing the mouse. But I like that because you can rebind those. It's just 2 extra things you can rebind. I usually rebind it for sprint in a game when I'm playing. But yeah, having a sniper mode button like that's stuff like that's neat, and it's just weird little touches. It's weird little touches.
Want me to tell you what I love to use my side buttons for? A lot of people don't, but I do.
Do what?
Quick reloads.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I've never done that before, but yeah, I may have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, it takes a little bit to get used to it because you're always used to hitting R.
Yeah.
But if you're able to keep your hands on the keyboard and not really move it, because hitting shift doesn't bother me because my pinky, my hands are so huge, my pinky's free. But if I'm able to just reload on the mouse and hit the one of the buttons, then I don't have to move my hand anywhere.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Then I have to move my finger.
I like that idea though. That's it's something I've never really thought about before, is using that one for reload. I may try that because the back button's usually the one I use for sprint. Got the paint's almost all worn off of it at this point. But the forward button, I usually don't use the forward button for anything, so I may start using that. I may, next time I'm playing a shooter or something, just throw it on reload and see how that works, because that'd be an interesting idea.
I would say there is a learning curve. It'll take you a little bit to get used to it.
Rebinding traditional keys like that is always a learning curve. I mean, it's no matter what it is, because R is ingrained. R is usually the generic reload button. E is the general interact button. That's why I always get thrown off when I play Mass Effect, because Mass Effect's action button is spacebar, which I like in a strange sort of way because it works. Because you don't use the spacebar for anything else, but it's just kind of weird. But yeah, there's always a learning curve when you go and move around the kind of set in stone buttons.
Well, spacebar got moved to being jump with Call of Duty and Battlefield.
Yeah.
But if you remember way back in the day, you had it wasn't Doom. It was there was another game, first person shooter. It was pretty popular, and in order to open a door or anything, you
Is it
actually use
Wolfenstein?
spacebar. I think so.
Yeah, I think it was Wolfenstein.
I
Because
can't remember.
I remember that. Because I remember Wolfenstein had something really weird with the controls. I think that may have been it.
Hmm.
Because I remember playing that and it was always off. I may check that out. I think I've got Wolfenstein 3D on Steam. I may have to go back and try that. But yeah, back before jumping is such a strange thing that dates my gaming knowledge by very much. Back in the day before jumping was a thing in video games, I mean, spacebar was other things, you know? It's only really recently has that become a big thing. Recently, I say like the last 10 years, 10, 15 years and really that's just because of shooters, you know? That's the only reason you'd have to jump for anything. Now it's become very commonplace, and it's not like I've got a problem with it, you know. But
then you have Bethesda that said, "Oh, we're making a what was it MMORPG game," and of course, every single one of their games have space is the jump. So
yeah,
you hop out on any Bethesda game, space will be the jump.
Have you ever played the Bethesda games on console though? They have some messed up controls there. That is Bethesda has the worst control scheme for controllers. It is just I think Y is jump on there, and the interact button I think is A. It's just really weird. And I've never understood that for that because everything on controller has been so standard for years. But I don't know. I've just never understood that.
I think the one thing that I had to get used to when I was playing Skyrim on controller, the triggers. Both triggers operated the hands separately because I was used to the left trigger being my aim.
Yeah.
And then, it just, man, it threw me off big time. I was like, this is messing me up.
It's kind of weird.
And forget this.
It's one of the things that's kind of one of the things that threw me off a little bit in Dishonored. Not that exactly, but in Dishonored, for those who've never played it, you've got access to a sword and a crossbow. Or no, I don't remember. No, one hand you can use magic, and the other hand you can use a sword, but it's backwards. So if you click left, it's going to access what's in your right hand. If you click right, it's going to access what's in your left hand. And it's really hard to remember that when you first start playing. That was the way it was in at least Dishonored 1. I haven't played Dishonored 2 yet. I don't know if they changed it, but I remember that being really, really screwy.
Yeah, well, it's just like whenever the first version of Minecraft came out for the Xbox, the controls were switched.
Oh, God. Minecraft.
And so I used to have to go in and I used to have to go in and reverse the Y-axis because it was switched.
God, I don't know how people play that game on the controller because I remember always having to contort my hand because I played it on the 360 when it first came out. You have to contort your hand in such a way to do anything in there because Minecraft is very much one of those games where you're doing 7 things at once. You know, you're running, you're jumping, you're breaking blocks, and you're placing stuff and you're moving around. I always remember just having some really weird. I'd look down and I'd have like one finger across the controller over here, and everything was like all twisted, and I had hands on opposite ends of the controller, and it looked like something out of a horror movie. And it's just like I remember why this is a keyboard game now. Keyboards are easy.
Yeah, well, and plus, whenever it first came out, when I say the controls are switched, on the left controller. Whenever you pushed up, it looked down, and whenever you pushed
I
down,
remember that now. I remember that.
I hated that. I hated that so bad.
I remember that now. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. That was, jeez. Yeah, I remember that now. I'd completely forgotten that was a thing when that game first came out on Xbox.
Yeah,
but I just remember when that first came out, it was really screwy.
Oh yeah, I remember when it only had 1,000 block limit.
Oh yeah,
the worlds were walk to the edge of the world. And
the worlds were so small. Like I got it just because I know a lot of people who didn't have decent PCs and wanted to play it, and I played it on there. But it was just like every time it's like I feel unclean. I need to go back to my computer. It was just not because it was a console or anything, just because the way it ran and the way it was done was so weird. And I don't know if it's just because I didn't expect the game to... It didn't really transfer over to controller well at first, and the worlds were so small, and a lot of the mechanics were different. I never cared much for the crafting system, and it's like the new crafting system in the Minecraft snapshots I don't much care for. But it's just... it's always been a little bit weird.
Oh, yeah. Well, do you have any games that you are interested in coming out?
I think that Far Cry 5 got announced. Not like this week,
I
this
think
last
so.
week. It got announced. It's in Montana, I think. It's about a cult. A really weird religious
Yeah.
cult going on. I watched the trailer this morning, so I vaguely remember bits and pieces of it. But yeah, it looks interesting. I know a lot of people are interested in this one. It's a fresh take, kind of. A lot of the games have basically, since Far Cry 3, they've basically been trying to capture that same essence. And I think with this one, they're going to try to do something a little bit different, which I like. Because I never played Far Cry 4, but from what I heard, it was basically them just trying to capture the same thing that got Far Cry 3 really popular and failing. And I know a lot of people didn't really like Far Cry Primal because it was just kind of a weird game that existed. But the Far Cry 5 looks interesting. I don't know if I'll buy into it this early. I may wait till it comes out to make a informed judgment, but it looks pretty interesting. Looks good from the trailer at least.
Yeah.
So,
The game I'm looking forward to, and they haven't confirmed it completely yet. It's supposed to be coming out hopefully whenever school starts, like every other staking game that comes out. Is Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So ready for that game.
Yeah, you're a big Mountain Blade fan. I know that. I still haven't sat down and played any of those. I need to though, because I hear they're really good. I've got a friend of mine who's really into Warband, or at least was a couple years ago.
So here's the thing about it, okay? Mm-hmm. If you're into the graphical side of things and beautiful look, don't play that game.
Yeah, that kind of thing has never really bothered me. I like it. My thing for that's always been I like it when it's there, but it doesn't bother me when it's not. If it looks really good, I notice it for about 15 minutes, and I go, "Ooh, this looks pretty," and then I forget about it immediately. You know, it's kind of thing doesn't bother me. That's why I like older games. But it's one of those things. I've just never. I got. I think the original was Mountain Blade on GOG a few years ago when it was free, and I think it was free again not too long ago. But I never played it. I think I played the demo of Warband, and it was pretty fun.
So here's a way to explain Mountain Blade pretty quick. Mountain Blade takes it looks like kind of like Total War because you're able to move around, but you don't play in turns. As you're moving across, everybody's moving around. But it takes the concept of Total War as far as like being able to command your troops and stuff. But if you ever played Skyrim and you wished, I wish you'd really stand somewhere else so I can do my job and fight. With Mountain Blade, you can tell your troops, stand over there, I'm going here. Wonderful. And you're actually able to command the battlefield, and you're still first person.
That is
so
wonderful.
You can pull your shoot, you can... I've turned the tides of battles. I don't know how many times just me by myself because all my army was dead.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah, I've never. I want to sit down and play through it just to get a feel for what it is, but it looks pretty good. So I'm gonna I'll have to keep an eye on that. I know a lot of people are excited for the new. Was it Bannerlord? Did you say it was?
Yes, Bannerlord.
Yeah, and it looks interesting. I've seen bits and pieces of the news and whatnot. And I know a lot of people are excited for it, and yeah, I'll keep an eye on it because I know Mountain Blade has a huge following. I just never have checked it out. It's not that I haven't liked it or anything. I've just never gone far enough to play it. So I'm gonna have to sit down and play it eventually. Just make myself play it for an hour or two and get into it.
Well, I'll tell you, once you actually sit down and start playing it, you'll realize unless you have your own creative story in your mind, because it's sandbox, it's an open world. So you control what happens to you. You know, you have quests and stuff that you can do and talk to and whatever. But one thing I love about it is you're able to write a story and you can record and tell your story how you want it. So if you wanted to be this just terrible, terrible person and just fight every single body on the entire planet, you could do that. So
yeah, it sounds like an interesting concept for a game from what I've heard. So yeah, like I said, I'll keep an eye on it, and I may have to check it out a little bit.
Other than that, that's pretty much all I got, man.
Yeah, I don't have much. I've been kind of watching game news a little bit with E3 coming up. I think we're as we get closer and closer to E3, we'll have more to talk about. But I haven't really gotten anything technology related recently to talk about either. So I think it's a little bit short, but I think that's a good stopping point. We're just barely shy of an hour, so.
Yep.
That sounds pretty good. So I'll thank everybody for tuning in this week and maybe possibly tune in tomorrow for Crusty Salt if we ever decide to do that one again. Studio has not renewed it yet, so we may or may not be back this week. I'm tired of telling people we're going to be back because I always forget or never realize if we're going to be back. But yeah, so that may happen tomorrow, and maybe next week. Maybe we can get a 3-hitter. Maybe we can be back again next week. Everything should be going good now. We should be having more regular episodes, hopefully. So, anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. Do you have any final spiel?
See you.
Bye.
No, that's pretty much it. See
All
ya.
right,
Bye.
everybody.